We live in interesting times.
For the headlines.
The United Nations chief says humanity's war against nature must stop.
The Philippines was braced for powerful typhoon Kamuri as the storm turned closer, forcing evacuations and threatening plans for the Southeast Asian Games events near the capital, Manila.
China suspends U.S. warship visits and sanctioned American NGOs in retaliation for the passage of a bill backing pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong.
And impressed by the opening and Philippine hosting, the Olympic Council of Asia asks the Philippines to bid for 2030 Asian Games hosting.
I'm Alma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thank you very much for joining us.
We welcome our viewers here in the Philippines and around the world. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sam Cepeda.
And now to the news. UN Chief Antonio Guterres warned Sunday ahead of a key climate conference that the devastating impact of global warming that threatens humanity is a pushback from nature under assault. Mr. Guterres also flagged a UN report to be released in a few days, confirming the last 5 years are the warmest on record, with 2019 likely to be the second hottest ever.
For many decades, the human species has been at war with the planet, and the planet is fighting back. And then the second is we must stop our war against nature, and science tells us that we can do it. We must limit global temperatures rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, reach carbon neutrality by 2050, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 45% from 2010 levels by 2030. But let's be clear, until now, our efforts to reach these targets have been utterly inadequate.
President Trump has set in motion the process that would see the United States withdraw from the Paris deal by the end of the year, and other major emitters, China, India, Russia, and Brazil, have given scant indication that they will deepen their commitments. Guterres also singled out the European Union as playing a constructive role, saying the 28-nation bloc could help lead the way towards a net zero global economy by 2050. The Paris Agreement calls for capping global warming at under 2 degrees Celsius and 1.5 degrees Celsius if feasible. But current national pledges, if carried out, would see global temperatures rise by at least 3 degrees Celsius, a recipe for human misery, according to scientists. Despite growing public pressure, the 12-day negotiating session is likely to remain technical in nature, focused on finalizing the rule book for the Paris Agreement, which becomes operation at the end of next year.
Political will to put a price on carbon, political will to stop subsidies on fossil fuels, political will to stop building coal power plants from 2020 onwards, political will to shift taxation from income to carbon, taxing pollution instead of people. We simply have to stop digging and drilling and take advantage of the vast possibilities offered by renewable energy and nature-based solutions.
Comprometer la voluntad política necesaria de la que habla. Todos recordamos el arranque de la...
Confronted with a climate crisis threatening civilization, humanity must choose between hope and surrender, UN Chief Antonio Guterres told the opening plenary of the UN COP25 climate conference Tuesday.
by the end of the coming decade, we will be on one of two paths. One is the path of surrender, where we have sleepwalked past the point of no return, jeopardizing the health and safety of everyone on this planet. Do we really want to be remembered as the generation that buried its head in the sand, that fiddled while the planet burned? The other option is the path of hope, a path of resolve, of sustainable solutions, a path where more fossil fuels remain where they should be, in the ground, and where we are on the way to carbon neutrality by 2050.
The UN chief's comments were clearly aimed at the handful of countries responsible for more than half of global greenhouse gas emissions, though he did not call them out by name. President Donald Trump has set in motion the process that will see the United States withdraw from the Paris deal by year's end. Other major emitters, China, India, Russia, and Brazil, have given scant indication that they will deepen their commitments in the near term. Guterres did single out the European Union as playing a constructive role.
And the Philippines is bracing for powerful Typhoon Kamuri or Tisoy as the storm churned closer, forcing evacuations and threatening plans for the Southeast Asian Games events. Kamuri is expected to make landfall late Monday or early Tuesday in the nation's east with heavy rains and wind gusts of up to 185 kilometers per hour according to forecasters. And the storm is on track to then pass close to Manila, which is home to some 13 million people and the site for many of the SEA Games competitions. Nearly 70,000 people have already fled their homes in the Bicol region, which is where the typhoon is making a landfall. The Weather Bureau also warned of rain-induced landslides and possible storm surges of up to 10 feet, which could hit coastal areas in the nation's east. Kamuri is already snarling plans for the SEA Games, which open on Saturday, for thousands of athletes from the region and is set to run through December 11 in and around Manila. Windsurfing was canceled and triathlon events were held earlier than scheduled. Organizers are due to deliver an update on the impact later. Organizers have also insisted they have contingency plans in place, including allowing indoor events to proceed, but with attendance limited to competitors.
Most parts of Luzon will experience stormy weather due to Typhoon Tisoy or Kamuri, according to our National Weather Bureau. Let's get the latest update from Pagasa Weather Forecasting Center. Here's DOST Pagasa Weather Specialist Adsar D. Aurelio.
At nato po ang ating update sa bagyong Tisoy. At kasalukuyan po yung eye wall ng bagyong Tisoy ay tumatama na po sa may northern Samar. At yung eye wall ay ito'y nagdadala ng malakas na hangin at malakas na pagulan. At yung makikita sa ating latest image galing sa Himawari, itong mga makakapal na kaulapan ay nandito na po sa bandang Eastern Visayas at sa ilang bahagi ng Bicol region. At bukas ng hapon, ang sentro o bata ng bagyong Tisoy nasa Nahuhan, Oriental Mindoro. And then by Wednesday afternoon, mabilis ang pagkilos ng bagyo at nasa West Philippine Sea na yung mata ng bagyong Tisoy. At dahil sa interaction nitong araw ngayon hanggang Tuesday, humina ito at naging ganap na severe tropical storm. And then Thursday afternoon, December 5, inaasahan natin na sa labas na itong si bagyong Tisoy. Ito yung mga lugar po na sa ilalim ng Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 3. Ito ay nasa Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, Camarines Norte, Masbate, kasama Ticao at Borias Island, Romblon, ang mga lugar po na sa ilalim ng signal number 2 ay Metro Manila, Bulacan, Bataan, Tarlac, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Southern Aurora. Ang mga lugar po ay Lipaculao, Maria Aurora, Baler, San Luis at Dingalan, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, Rizal, rest of Quezon kasama Polillo Islands, Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, Calamian Islands at Zambales. So ang mga lugar po na sa ilalim ng signal number 1 ay Southern Isabela. Mountain Province ay nasa ilalim ng signal number 1, Ifugao, Benguet, Nueva Vizcaya, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Quirino at yung rest of Aurora. So meron tayong inaasahang storm surge. May aabot po ng more than 3 meters sa mga several areas sa Northern Samar, Catanduanes, Camarines Norte at Camarines Sur. Meron pong aabot ng 3 meters sa Batangas, Quezon, Albay at Marinduque. Pag yung mata ng bagyo ay nasa isang lugar, ang magiging weather po ay napakaganda, parang tag-init. Baka isipin ng mga tao, wala na pong bagyo. Hindi po yan. Yung mata mismo ay nandun sa isang lugar, napakakalmada, kumbaga, maranasan nyo nung malakas ang hangin, tas biglang gaganda ang panahon. Ibig sabihin po niyan, yung mata nasa inyo na. Tapos, from good weather, biglang lalakas, biglang susungit ang panahon, ibig sabihin, yung mata ay lumagpas na po sa inyong lugar.
In related news, the Philippine National Police placed all police units in Luzon and the Visayas on full alert to ensure availability of resources and personnel for possible disaster response operations in areas that may be affected by the onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy, or international name Kamuri. In a press briefing held at Camp Crame today, PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Bernard Manac said Officer in Charge Lieutenant General Archie Gamboa ordered all police commanders to coordinate with LGUs, or local government units, and local offices of the Office of Civil Defense on the specific assistance that the police could provide to ensure public safety.
Tuwang tayo ng lahat ng local government units sa pagsasagawa ng mga preemptive evacuations. At ang buong Bicol Region ay nagsasagawa na nito. So ang lahat ng mga nakatira sa malalapit na mga dalampasigan ay tinutulungan na ng PNP na magsagawa ng paglilikas. Kayo'y patuloy na nananawagan sa ating mga kababayan na nakatira sa mga lugar na maaaring daanan nitong bagyong Tisoy to stay safe, alert at informed. No?
Brigadier General Bernard Manac also urged the public not to take for granted the warning announced by the government through mobile phones. Meanwhile, Interior and Local Government Secretary Eduardo Año also directed officials of concerned government agencies to ensure their presence in their respective places to personally oversee disaster management operations. The Interior Secretary said LGUs must keep an eye on sea levels as well as the level of river waters and settlements in low-lying areas or near river banks which have experienced recent and repeated floodings, as well as those at the base of sliding slopes or ridges and areas identified as very high or critical landslide zone. Año also said local authorities should also restrict or ban tourist activities such as mountaineering, surfing, hiking, diving within their areas of jurisdiction to avoid any possible accidents caused by the weather disturbance.
Britain's Boris Johnson said he had ordered the security services to step up monitoring of convicted terrorists released early from prison, prompting accusations that he was exploiting the London Bridge attack for political gain less than 2 weeks before elections. The Prime Minister revealed officials were scrutinizing around 74 people with terrorist convictions who had been released early from prison, like Usman Khan, who left jail last December and went on to stab 2 people to death in Friday's rampage. Under the review of released terror convicts, police in the West Midlands said they had arrested a 34-year-old man on suspicion of preparation of terrorist acts. British media said he was a former associate of the London Bridge attacker and had been jailed alongside Khan in 2012 over a plot to bomb the London Stock Exchange. Police said, however, there was no information to suggest a link to Friday's attack. Khan, 28, was shot dead wearing a fake explosives vest by police on London Bridge after a stabbing spree launched in a nearby hall hosting an ex-offenders event that also left 3 people injured. Police on Sunday formally named the 2 victims killed as Jack Merritt, 25, from Cambridgeshire in eastern England, and 23-year-old Saskia Jones of Warwickshire in the West Midlands. Johnson blamed the previous Labour government for changing the law in 2008 to allow for the early release of prisoners and vowed to introduce minimum 14-year sentences if he regains power in the December 12 vote.
Obviously, it's early days and there's a lot of an investigation that needs to be done. But it's clear to me that this guy was out, he'd served half of his sentence, he was out on automatic early release. And I have long said that this system simply isn't working. It does not make sense for us as a society to be putting terrorist, people convicted of terrorist offences, of serious violent offences, out on early release. We want to toughen up sentences for serious and violent offences, and I've said for a long time now that I think the practice of automatic early release, where you cut a sentence in half and let really serious violent offenders out early, simply isn't working, and I think you've had some very good evidence of how that isn't working, I'm afraid, with this case. How are you doing?
Oh, we're proud for you.
Thank you very much.
You're taking part. We have had a few.
Meanwhile, Dutch police on Sunday said they had found no indications of a terrorist motive after arresting a homeless man for stabbing 3 teenagers in The Hague. The 35-year-old man was detained on Saturday after the assault, which happened as shoppers hunted Black Friday bargains in the city's main commercial street. Now, police said the suspect had no fixed abode and was arrested at a homeless shelter in the center of The Hague before being taken to a police station for questioning. They had previously said they were investigating several scenarios. Now, the attack happened just hours after a terror suspect stabbed 2 people to death in London. The victims were a 13-year-old boy and 2 15-year-old girls, none of whom knew each other, according to police. They were all treated in hospital but released overnight.
"11 people were wounded in a shooting early Sunday in a New Orleans French Quarter, a popular tourist hub. U.S. police said, adding that 2 of the victims were in a critical condition. The shooting took place at about 3 a.m. on a crowded commercial street near many hotels in a historic district that attracts visitors from around the world. No fatalities had been reported, and police said they quickly responded to the incident as extra patrols were on duty for an annual Thanksgiving weekend university football game in the city.
We had officers right there within that very block that actually thought that they were being fired upon and took a position to respond to this. At the end of the day, we had 10 individuals that were struck by this gunfire. 2 are now listed in critical condition. 5 were transported to University Hospital. The other 5 are at Tulane Hospital. Unfortunately, there were so many people out here who were unable to determine who was actually firing these shots at that time. Also, we had our partners out here with the state police as well as federal partners that are out here throughout the night as well. So we're definitely out here doing what it is that we're supposed to be doing with regards to protecting and serving this community and covering this special event. We have some individuals that chose to do the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Impressed by the opening and the Philippine hosting, the Olympic Council of Asia had asked the Philippines to bid for the 2030 Asian Games hosting. Take a look.
Number one is the slogan, "We win as one." For me, this means the solidarity of Southeast Asia countries. We win as one. Most important is the friendship. And we are working toward for a better future of the world in the Philippine arena. I think the Philippine arena, perhaps, I'm not sure, is the unique, biggest indoor arena in the world. With how many screens?
55,000.
55,000. This is the indoor stadium. The indoor stadium. And in the opening ceremony, we witnessed the enthusiasm of all the participants, all the athletes. You allow all the athletes to walk in. The parade is the honor for the athletes. So you did very well. I saw all the enthusiasm. This means that Philippines is capable to organize bigger scale games.
The first thing that you have seen, maybe, but you did not notice, the first time that the head of state was dancing when the athletes come in. We were all actually very proud of that he was part of the enjoyment of the games. The SEA Games is the oldest and the biggest regional games in the world. And here you will see that we only have not only summer sports, but we also have winter sports combined. So we're doing something to promote sports in Southeast Asia. Mr. Wei, thank you very much.
It's pre-recorded or live, again, for us, it's the best spectacular opening ceremony. It doesn't matter. It's an entertainment television show. That's my answer.
So, sir, you wouldn't confirm po ba kung recorded or hindi?
I say it doesn't matter. It's pre-recorded or live. It's an entertainment. It's a spectacular opening ceremony.
I agree.
And again, it's a television show. It's entertainment. Okay? Again, as what Mr. Wei said, it's a unique opening ceremony for the first time indoors.
I declare open Southeast Asian Games for the 30th.
Saturday night, President Duterte officially declared the opening of the 2019 SEA Games, which the country is hosting for the fourth time. The Philippines also hosted in 1981, 91, and 2005. President Duterte, along with thousands of Filipino spectators, swayed to the beat of the iconic song Manila by Filipino band Hot Dog, which was played during the parade of more than 1,000 Philippine athletes competing for the SEA Games. During the opening ceremony, FISGOC Chair and House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano also assured the 11 participating countries that, quote, "We build as one, we work as one, and we win as one."
The host Philippines kicked off its bid to duplicate the Southeast Asian Games overall championship it achieved 14 years ago, with now more than 40 glittering gold medals on the 30th edition of the biennial meet Monday. The dance sports in Arnis came out with most brilliant performance, 9 golds and 4 golds respectively, while triathlon and sepak takraw added 2 for the Team Philippines Gold Rush. Pair Seen Orshan Aranar and Ana Nuwalia collected 3 golds in open standard, single dance tango and dance Viennese, while another couple, Mark Jason Gayon and Mary Joy Renigin, snatched the golds in single slow foxtrot and dance waltz of the dance sports competition at Roy's Hotel in Clark, Pampanga. 2 more couples, Michael Angelo Marquez and Stephanie Sabalo, and Wilbert Awunzo and Pearl Marie Canieda, were also unstoppable in open Latin category, winning 2 and 3 gold medals each. The Philippines gold medals in Arnis, the local martial arts, were won by Dexler Bolambao in men's live stick bantamweight, Nino Mark Taliedo featherweight, Villardo Kunamay lightweight, and Mike Banyares welterweight. Filipino triathletes bagged the game's first 2 gold medals after scoring an impressive double 1-2 finish in the triathlon competition in Subic Bay, Zambales. John Lirams Chicano and Andrew Kim Romelino won the gold and silver of the men's category respectively, while Kim Mangrobang and teammate Kim Kilgroe also pulled out 1-2 finish in the women's division. The Philippine Sepak Takraw team completed a twin kill in hoop events to the delight of the huge crowd at the Subic Gymnasium in Subic, Pampanga. Buoyed by the women's breakthrough triumph earlier, the Filipino Sepak Takraw bets did not disappoint with a big follow-up victory as the hosts started strong on their 4 gold medal bid in the biennial meet rolling off until December 11. The Philippines men's and women's 3x3 basketball teams added more golds to the country's medal tally after defeating their opponents Indonesia, which settled for a silver finish in the games held at the Phil Oil V Arena in San Juan. World champion gymnast Carlos Yulo lived up to expectation, winning the individual all-around event of the men's artistic gymnastics. The palace congratulated the athletes.
We congratulate those who won medals, gold, silver, and bronze. They have performed exceedingly well, and that showcases the Filipino talent and the genius for excelling in sports.
Incentives are in store for the winners.
And the news continues here on Eagle News. We'll be right back.
Tungkulin ng MTRCV ang mag-provide na appropriate ratings sa lahat ng TV show.
Welcome back. China has suspended U.S. warship visits and sanctioned American NGOs in retaliation for the passage of a bill backing pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said at a regular press briefing, quote, A few days ago, the United States, in spite of China's resolute opposition, insisted on signing the so-called Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act into law, which seriously violated international law and the basic norms of international relations and seriously interfered with China's internal affairs. In response to the unreasonable behavior of the U.S. side, the Chinese government has decided to suspend reviewing the applications for U.S. warships to go to Hong Kong for recuperation as of today. Meanwhile, Hua also said they would also apply sanctions to a number of U.S.-based NGOs, although failed to give any specifics over the form sanctions would take. Sanctions will apply to NGOs that had acted badly over the recent unrest in Hong Kong, she said, including the National Endowment for Democracy, Human Rights Watch, and Freedom House. Now, last week, U.S. President Donald Trump signed the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, which requires the president to annually review the city's favorable trade status and threatens to revoke it if the semi-autonomous territories' freedoms are quashed. The move came as the world's two biggest economies have been striving to finalize a Phase 1 deal in their protracted trade war. China had already denied requests for two U.S. Navy ships to dock in Hong Kong in August without specifying a reason why.
Protests that have paralyzed Hong Kong for nearly 6 months are pushing residents to seek new lives abroad, with many turning to nearby democratic Taiwan to escape the uncertainty at home. Watch this.
移民来之前，就是有一个预感，就是香港的自由就是一支一支的被打压。那最后会不会别人说的一国一制，还有没有这个真的普选？
不然他是比较想要买的。建工是美国。
反正就是觉得香港那个问题，就是2、3个月，就是差不多淡下来就会过去。但是就现在觉得，有一点点回不去的感觉，因为这是两边不同的声音人会觉得，不能就在这边，对，就是看不到将来会就是怎样的走向。
In other news, Malta's Prime Minister Joseph Muscat, under fire over his handling of the murder of journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia, said Sunday he would step down after his replacement is chosen in January. He declined to make a link with Caruana Galizia's 2017 murder. He said in a televised address that he was resigning as this is what needs to be done. Take a look.
Għalhekk se nkun qed nikteb lill-President tal-Partit Laburista biex jibda proċess li bih jingħażel mexxej ġdid tal-Partit Laburista sa nhar il-Ħadd 12 ta' Jannar 2020. Dakinhar li jingħażel mexxej ġdid tal-Partit Laburista jien mbagħad nirreżenja minn mexxej u nagħti f'idejn il-persuna magħżula u fil-jiem ta' wara nirreżenja minn Prim Ministru biex ikonna Prim Ministru ġdid. Il-pajjiż hekk se jibda proċess qasir ta' ftit aktar minn xahar li matulu se naslu biex il-Partit Laburista jkollu mexxej ġdid u wara Prim Ministru ġdid. Infurmaj b'dan kollu lill-President tar-Repubblika.
The announcement came after 2 weeks of mounting pressure and popular protests calling for Muscat to quit for his handling of the probe into Caruana Galicia's car bomb killing. Muscat said he would resign after his successor is chosen by January 12. Earlier Sunday, the Labor leader got the unanimous backing of part MPs at an emergency meeting called the day after Typhoon Fenech was charged with complicity in the murder. A court has also frozen Fenech's assets. The investigation has rocked the southern Mediterranean island, reaching the highest echelons of government. Critics, including members of Caruana Galicia's family, have accused Prime Minister Muscat, 45, of protecting those involved in murdering the popular journalist and blogger who exposed cronyism and sleaze within the tiny country's political and business elite.
Dozens of women, activists and students broke police barricades in India's capital as they march on the streets against the latest gruesome case of a 27-year-old veterinary doctor who was gang raped, killed, and then her body burned in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad. Police of hundreds of people on Saturday laid siege to a police station where 4 men are being held over the latest gruesome rape murder to shock India. Baton-wielding police pushed back crowds from the building in the southern city of Hyderabad. While the suspects were quickly detained, the killing sparked new outrage in a country that has been in the international spotlight over its handling of sex assaults since the brutal gang rape and murder of a student on a Delhi bus in 2012. Police said the 27-year-old Hyderabad vet, who cannot be named, was abducted on Wednesday night after she left her scooter near an expressway toll booth. The 4 men are alleged to have deflated a tire while she was away and offered to help when she returned to collect it. The victim called her younger sister to say she was stranded and that a group of men had offered to fix her scooter. The woman said she was afraid, according to her sister's testimony to police. The sister called back
year 2019 is about to conclude, another Aid to Humanity project was held in various places across the country. The earlier part of November, the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, along with the members of the Iglesia ni Cristo Church of Christ, conducted another Aid to Humanity project in various locations in the North and South Islands of New Zealand. As packages of assistance were extended to people without discriminating their status in society, hundreds of Kiwis, Filipinos, and other migrants benefited from this Aid to Humanity project. Even the homeless, considered as the most disadvantaged group of people in New Zealand, were included among the beneficiaries. Many of them received bags of grocery products, while others were given useful items. But much more than the material benefits, guests were taught on the significance of the Iglesia ni Cristo Church of Christ in the world today. All locations conducted their respective evangelical missions. On the part of the members of the church, they took pride of their participation in extending material assistance and in sharing their faith to other people, as they were thankful to the church administration for allowing them to do so.
One way of showing our love to our fellow men is to do good unto them and to help them in their needs, as what God has instructed us, as recorded in the Bible. Whenever you possibly can, do good to those who need it. And the greatest good that we can share unto our fellow men is the truth or the words of God that we uphold in the Church of Christ. Because through this truth, they would come to know or understand the righteous way of serving our Almighty God and the way to the attainment of salvation come the day of judgment. We sincerely thank our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, for always leading, guiding, and inspiring us to all the more intensify our effort in fulfilling the works that truly give glory to our Almighty God.
Follow the teaching of our Lord God that whenever you possibly can, do good to those who need it. So we always try to show to the people how we love them by giving them the token of appreciation, anything that we can provide them. But more than material things, the most important thing is the spiritual thing. Aside from this aid to humanity, it is our duty to help.
We as members of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo are very happy because we always have this kind of activity to extend our help to those people who are in need.
Nagsagawa po tayo ng pagsambang pumamahayag na magkakaroon din po ng lingap para sa ating mga inanyang mga bisita. Lalong-lalo na po makapakinig sila ng mga aral po na sinasampalatayan po natin sa Iglesia ni Cristo. Bilang pong may tungkulin, unang-una na po ito na isang aral po sa atin na tayo po ay umanib sa Iglesia na kailangan po natin ipamahayag ang malalang katotohanan ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Lalong-lalo na sa ganitong po mga gawain. Kaya pag nakikita po namin ng mga kapatid at iba pong mga may tungkulin na masiglang nakikipagkaisa po sa ganitong mga gawain, masayang-masaya po kami. Lalo na nakakatulong po tayo sa pagbibigay ng lingap po sa kanila. Hindi lang po ito, lalo na ang matanggap po nila ang mga tunay na aral na sinasampalatayan po natin.
On the other hand, the guests expressed their gratitude of being part and of beneficiaries of such charitable undertaking.
To be honest with you guys, it's really it's overwhelming. I'm so emotional and I don't even know what to say. I just wanted to thank you guys. That's really special, especially for you guys giving out so much. Not only to me, but especially to everyone.
I think it's really good what the church does for the community. Even though it's just a small amount, I think it really helps. And yeah.
Through the continuing dynamic leadership of the Church Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, and the members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ will never stop doing good to others whenever they possibly can. From Wellington City, New Zealand, this is Greg Besa. I am and will always be one with 25.
Thank you, Greg. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr. Also check out our boards and Pinterest and pictures on Instagram. I'm Sam Cepeda. Thanks for joining us.
And before we go, we would like to greet Sister Babylin Manalo. A very happy birthday. Belated happy birthday po.
Belated happy birthday po.
All right, and I'm Alma Angeles. Join us online and here again tomorrow evening. From all of us here at Eagle News, I'm Alma and
we're one with 25.